The Game of Thrones creators explain why they left out Lady Stoneheart. It's only been a little over a year since the finale of HBO's Game of Thrones, but because 2020 has itself been the long winter, it feels like so much longer ago. Fans are still a bit raw about how the whole show ended up, and with the promised deadline for George R.R. Martin's next A Song of Ice and Fire entry come and gone, it feels like we may never know the author's intended culmination of the epic fantasy smash. But in the new book, Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon, written by Entertainment Weekly's James Hibbard, detailing the entirety of the show from inception to conclusion, creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss at least shine a little light on one of the most controversial deviations from the source material, the decision to leave fan-favorite book character Lady Stoneheart out. But the book also explains that Lady Stoneheart will have a part to play in the conclusion of Martin's books, whenever those come out. Even though the TV series is over, some of you may not have read the books, so we're going to throw a Drogon's grocery bill-sized spoiler warning here for what has and may transpire in A Song of Ice and Fire. But if you want to know things, drinking optional, then let's begin. In the new book, Benioff and Weiss give 3 reasons for not including Lady Stoneheart in the series. Lady Stoneheart is, of course, the resurrected Catelyn Stark, who returns all kinds of vengeful after her death in the Red Wedding. She has, to date, made 2 appearances in the books. The first is her shocking debut in A Storm of Swords, and the second is in A Feast for Crows. There, she's the leader of the Brotherhood Without Banners. You know, the group of camping enthusiasts who just love raising people from the dead. The Brotherhood captures Brienne of Tarth, and Lady Stoneheart accuses her of breaking her oath and serving the Lannisters. To prove her loyalty, Stoneheart orders Brienne to kill Jaime, which, ruh-roh. But why did David and Dan send their regards to a character so beloved in fandom? They don't seem to think much of the character beyond her first appearance. Quote, "There was never really much debate about including Lady Stoneheart," Benioff says in Fire Cannot Kill a Dragon. "There is that one great scene." That was the only debate, Weiss says. The scene where she first shows up is one of the best holy shit moments in the books. I think that scene is where the public response came from. But then, presumably, they wouldn't have much use for her, unlike completely useful characters that stuck around for the whole series, like Bronn. But the show's creators did give 3 reasons for why Lady Stoneheart never appeared. The first reason involves Martin's as-yet unpublished books and how the show diverged. Said Benioff, "Part of the reason we didn't want to put it in had to do with things coming up in George's books that we don't want to spoil by discussing them." Please spoil something. Please. Please. The second reason is a lot more practical. Since the showrunners were already planning to do a major death and resurrection arc for a different main character, they didn't want to spoil or lessen it by having Catelyn return first. Said Benioff, "We knew we had Jon Snow's resurrection coming up. Too many resurrections start to diminish the impact of characters dying. We wanted to keep our powder dry for that." Jon Snow's death in Season 5 was a major cliffhanger, and his resurrection in Season 6 set up a number of intriguing plot threads going forward. But would Lady Stoneheart's appearance have lessened any of those? Well, that might not matter as much as the third reason she's not in the show. The Red Wedding was Game of Thrones' first big water cooler shock, even more shocking than the death of Ned Stark at the end of Season 1. It was so powerful and so heart-destroying that they didn't want to take away from it, nor from actress Michelle Fairley's outstanding final scenes. Catelyn's last moment was so fantastic, and Michelle is such a great actress. To bring her back as a zombie who doesn't speak felt like diminishing returns, Benioff says. So, okay, Lady Stoneheart wasn't in Game of Thrones because The Red Wedding was too successful, Michelle Fairley too good, and Resurrection too already happening to Jon Snow. But should that have mattered? It certainly seems like whatever George R.R. Martin has planned for the character in the last 2 books of the saga, they clashed with the trajectory of Benioff and Weiss's vision for the show. But what do you think? Should the show have included Lady Stoneheart? Was the Red Wedding too much to overcome? Would we have trouble believing yet another member of the Stark family returning from the dead? Remember Uncle Benjen? Let's discuss in the comments below. And for more of all the things you care about, make sure to stay on Nerdist.com.